Hi pen friends, this is Sarah. Today I'm going to be showing you my top 5 favorite fountain pens as of January 2020. And I'm actually going to be showing you 10 pens. That's because I'm going to show you my top 5 steel-nibbed fountain pens and my top 5 gold-nibbed fountain pens. And I'm going to start with the steel-nibbed and then work my way to the gold nib. I'm going to be writing on this graphite 90-gram sketch 41-pound paper made by Clairefontaine. I bought this paper from Van Ness Pens for about $9. And it has a little bit of a tooth to the paper, a little texture, which I like because it actually keeps the nib from sliding too much on the paper. And so let's get started. I'm gonna do these in from my 5th favorite to my 1st favorite pen. So in 5th place for steel nib pens is the Noodler's Conrad Ebonite pen. I really like the ebonite material. It's pretty. I think this pen was about $40, which is a good price for ebonite. And I've actually bought 3 of these pens. I'll show you 2 of them that I have. This one was called the Dixie number 10 in pine cone, I think, and this is the Sahara. And I like those colors. So I'm going to do a little bit of a writing sample here for you. So I don't actually like the nibs that come with these pens. They're supposed to be flex. They're really, really scratchy. So I just, it's easy to pull out the nib and put in a new one. And so on this one I've got a Nomasini 0.8 millimeter italic nib. And also on this one I have a medium goulet nib. So these are great pens if you have a number 6 size nib that you enjoy to replace the nib on them. So this is a Noodler's Conrad Ebonite. They have Conrads and other materials, but I really prefer the ebonite. Okay. And it's also it's a piston fill pen, so it's got this little piston knob on the end there, and you just stick it into the ink and fill it up, and it's got an ink window there for you to see your ink. So I think that's a very nice pen. Alright, so in 4th place is a Delta Journal in the Corno finish. That's a plastic that has a swirly pattern, and it came with a fusion nib, which is a steel nib with a little piece of gold glued onto it, and that nib for me was really bad. I had heard good reviews of it, but I did not like the nib at all. So I switched it out, and you're going to say I'm cheating here, but this is actually a titanium Bach nib, and I highly recommend the number 6 titanium Bach nibs. I also have a number 5 one, and it's not as flexible, but this one is great. And this is a captured converter pen, and the cap rattles around on this knob, so I stuck a little piece of cotton in the cap to keep it from rattling. So when I bought this pen, I don't think it's a good value because they're basically charging you for like a gold nib pen, but it's not. And I did regret buying this pen, but now that I've got it with the titanium nib in it and I've got this rattling problem fixed, I've been enjoying this pen. It's got a nice wide grip. It's comfortable to hold. So this is, I haven't filled this pen in a while, so it actually might have a problem with flow just because there isn't a lot of ink in there. So this is a Delta journal, and this is the corno finish, which means horn. And, ooh, sorry, I probably should have filled the pen, but you can see that, ooh, it doesn't railroad when it's full, sorry. But you can see that it has some good flex with that titanium nib. Alright, so third on my list is the Kaweco Student. And a lot of people know Kaweco. They're a really popular brand. I haven't seen a lot of people that have the Student. I like the size of the pen. I think it just came in like black, white, maybe blue or something. It has a metal grip, which I don't usually like metal grips, but you know, it's got a good shape. You can just twist out the nib. I also have a medium nib for this, but this is the fine nib. And it's a good writer. Sorry, my handwriting, because I'm nervous, is not so great. Okay, Kaweco Student in white, and that's the fine. Doesn't have any, I mean, most of these steel nib pens don't have any flex to them or anything, any softness really. And I would say I like all of my gold nib pens better than my steel nib ones. I'm just showing you some steel nib options for people who don't want to pay as much for a fountain pen, and these are still good options. So my second favorite steel nib pen is the Pilot Metropolitan, and I just bought this because there were so many good reviews of the Pilot Metropolitan. I don't think it's the best looking pen ever, but it does feel nice because it's a metal body and then it has a plastic section. I would love it if they did not have this little plastic decorative piece. They have ones that have more patterning, but I go for the ones that don't have the patterning because they sort of blend in with the pen more, and if it wasn't there at all, I would like it so much better. And I have ones with a medium point and with the fine nib. I prefer the ones with the fine nibs. They seem smoother to me, amazingly. Usually medium nibs usually are better than fine, but in this case I like the fine better. So this is a Pilot Metropolitan in the silver, and I guess the price of these has gone up lately, but you can still find them pretty cheap on Amazon, and I think they're a really good value. And for people who like caps that click on instead of screw on, that's really good. I mean, if you need to write quickly, that's a good option for you. And this has the cartridge converter. This is like an upgrade from what you get. You get a squeeze converter with it, but you can buy a better converter. And that is my rabbit thumping. He's upset about this review. Maybe he doesn't agree about the Pilot Metropolitan. Okay, so lately, this is one of my newest acquisitions. It's a Diplomat Arrow, and it's made in Germany. It was suggested by Sherry Zeck, who has a YouTube channel. Her name is Sherry Zeck, and I recommend her YouTube channel. I love hearing her opinions on pens, and she said that this was her best acquisition of 2019. So, and she said that she has one with a gold nib and one with a steel nib, and the steel nib writes just as well as the gold nib, so I had to find out about that. So I bought this pen, and mine has a medium nib. I got it in matte silver finish. They come in lots of different finishes. I would prefer if this finial had a silver, the diplomat symbol there. I wish it was silver. It sort of stands out too much for my taste. But it's also a click to cap. And so anyways, this is the Diplomat Arrow, and the medium nib, which this is, I would agree, feels just as nice as some gold nibs. It's very, very smooth. It's a hard nib, but it has a bit of that, you know, buttery smoothness that people like in gold nibs. So I highly recommend this. This is my best steel nib pen. And I went ahead and also got it in the violet finish, which only Goulet Pens offers. This goes really well with my Solferino ink by Rohr & Klingner. Rohr und Klingner. That's one of my favorite purple inks, and it goes really well with this color. But they only had a fine nib available. They didn't have the medium, and I find that the medium nib writes a lot smoother than the fine. So those are all of my favorite steel nib pens. Now we're going to move over to my favorite gold nib pens. So my fifth favorite gold nib pen is this Omas Paragon. It's the vintage style Paragon, so they have two different Paragons, and this is the smaller size Paragon, and it has these nice silver trim. I really like this vintage look, and I also love the Arco Bronze celluloid and the patterns that it makes when the pen is faceted like this is. I love these patterns and how they have these angles, and I do enjoy the size, although it's on the small side, and it's a piston filler. I always prefer piston fillers. It's very comfortable to hold. Mine has a 14 karat fine extra flexibile nib. So this is the Omas Paragon, and has a wonderful, wonderful nib. My favorite nibs are the Omas fine extra flexibile nibs. Alright, so then in fourth place for gold nib pens is the Stipula Faceted Etruria, which was only offered by Chatterley Luxuries, and this has a celluloid that was made by Tibaldi, I think. It's a black and green marble celluloid, and I really, really like it. This pen is heavier than the last one. I think it maybe has some metal components inside. The grip section is one of my most comfortable grip sections. It's really got a nice shape. And even though this is not really a flexible nib, it does have a lot of bounce, and actually you can get some really nice line variation with that. Like it's similar to the Omas nibs, I think. So this is the Stipula Faceted Etruria, and these pens that I'm showing you, especially the gold nib ones, they're pretty hard to find. Like, this is a limited edition, so I guess there were only 18 of these made. This is number 2 of 18. But this I really enjoy. Alright, so let's see. I didn't really say what the gold content of that was. That's also a 14 karat gold nib. And my third favorite gold nib pen is the Bexley Deluxe with the jungle. It's not a celluloid, but it's beautiful. I think it's an acrylic. I think it was made by Schaefer. It's called Jungle. And there are several pens that are made out of this material, but this one I also love because I like the style of the pen, and also this is an italic nib. It's a 14 karat gold italic nib, which is my favorite italic nib in my collection. And Bexley nibs always are very smooth and wonderful to write with, and so the combination of the nib and the color of the pen makes it one of my favorites. So this is the Bexley Deluxe in Jungle. So they have other colors of this, but some of them are just like solid color pens, and this one is really, really beautiful. That's a 14 karat gold nib. So Bexley also makes 18 karat italic nibs, and I have one of those, but this one is my favorite, and it's actually a 1.3 millimeter nib, and usually I prefer round nibs to italics, but this one is so smooth and it does lovely line variation, so that one is my third favorite. My second favorite gold nib pen is one that I reviewed on my channel. This was my first video that I made, was a review of this pen, and this is the Bexley Golden Age with the green Arco Verde celluloid that was originally, that celluloid was made by Omas, and Bexley took it after Omas had gone out of business, and they made this beautiful pen. This one is also a heavier pen, and has a really nice section there. It's a short section, so I don't know if you have larger fingers if that would be comfortable, but for mine it is. It has a wonderful weight to the pen, and it's an 18 karat gold medium nib. So that's the Bexley Golden Age. It's smooth. It's really great. I'm glad that I bought it. Okay, and then my number one pen in my whole collection is this Omas Milord with the bronze Arco celluloid. I actually prefer the looks of the Paragon, but this one had the nib, even though it's still a fine extra flexibile nib, this one is a little bit finer and it flexes better, and I just, I mean, the writing experience is really what attracts you to the pen the most, at least for me it does, and this one writes the best, so that's why it's my favorite. And this one also has the fine extra flexibile nib. That's the Omas Milord, and it goes from really fine to really broad very easily. It's just has a wonderful bounciness, and I love this pen. So that's it for my top 5 favorite pens. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.